Um, Patrick says, I think the disparity between money-based factors versus quality of life factors is interesting. I completely agree with you, Patrick. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That's one of the things that's kind of jumping out at me here, right? Obviously, there's a lot of, the top two factors are money-based, right? So I'm on board with that observation. One of the thing that's really kind of jumping out at me is this one here, the 51% push for changes to role, manager, or company. Because to me, that is number one. That is a number one. I want to be working for good people. I want to be working for smart people. Because one, that's how I do best, just knowing myself and my career. And two, if you have that, then everything else takes care of itself, right? If you have good people, then you're going to have that good work-life balance. You're going to have the good workplace culture. You're going to feel challenged, right? Like if you have a good manager, none of these other ones make sense or come into the equation, right? You eliminate all of these. Maybe the bonus and the salary side, sometimes those decisions are outside of the manager's hands, right? So that can be a little, that can be a little dicey. But if you have a good manager, you'll be fine, right? You'll have the work-life balance. You'll feel like you're in a positive culture, like you'll be fine. And I know I did this early in my career where I was in a situation, I was working for an entertainment company. And I had this great boss. This is all in the US, by the way. I was working for a company in Beverly Hills. I was living in Beverly Hills at the time. Everything was fantastic. I was really dedicated to this job. It was a really fun company. We did a lot of really fun team events. We got to go to the NBA Finals, and we sat in the suite at the Staples Center, to watch the Lakers. It was awesome. But unfortunately, my boss was not from the US. He was from Singapore. And he was here on a visa. And there was I can't remember the exact reasons, but there was a problem with his visa, and he had to go back to Singapore. And we tried remote work, and the owner of the company wasn't really on board with remote work. Because this is all back in early 2000s, right? Like remote work wasn't really a thing. And unfortunately, he had to end up leaving the company. And they brought in a new guy who I was not on board with. Like the new boss was awful, just awful. And he was so awful that I quit on the same day that I met him. 2 days after I met him, I quit. I said, I'm not working for this guy. And I quit on the spot, which was tough because I didn't have anything else lined up, right? But I knew I was, I had enough faith in my skills, right? But I quit on the spot. And it ended up being a good thing because then I ended up working for Ticketmaster, and they were a much larger company. I had a lot more responsibility. So it ended up being a positive thing in the long run. But I can totally understand why somebody would be pushed out by a change in management, because I've done that. I want to work for good people. I want to work for smart people. So I'm really surprised that is so low, the changes to the manager. And then somebody else is already hitting on it. Patrick is already hitting on it about the higher base salary. That is also advice that I had received about, never do things for money, right? Don't move jobs for money. And I did that once in my career, completely regretted it. Never doing that again. So that is something that you should also, that I'm surprised is so high on the pull factors, because I think that doing that is kind of just not a good idea for your long-term growth, right? So I'm on board with your sentiment there, Patrick.